Go. Jay Baba, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Jay Baba, everyone. We're happy you're here today.
Lily
We're
bet.
celebrating.
Lily here. It's not letting me on. Stay in here. Stay in here. I know. I try it again.
Sorry, we're celebrating Meherwan Jessawala today, Eruch's brother. And we have a bio from Karen Talbot. I have a little video of some photos of Meherwan and then some sharing. We'd love to have people share their memories. So, without any further ado, Miss Karen, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Jay Baba.
Hey, Baba.
I actually have a rather lengthy bio of Meherwan because I think part of the reason is his book is quite lengthy. And also having known him on our many trips to India and Meherzad. So I'd love to begin, and it's an honor. Meherwan Jessawala was born on November 22nd, 1930, in British India. His parents were Barimsha or Papa Jessawala and his mother Gaimai Jessawala. His siblings were Eruch, born in 1916, Mehru, born in 1920, and Manu, born in 1919. He lived in Pune and Meherzad. His profession, he was an insurance agent for 18 years, and for 18 years, he worked with Meherji at the White Cloud paper mill in Pune. He met Meher Baba when he was 6 or 7 years old and passed on July 15th, 2016. Before he was born, Baba sent word that he should be named Meherwan. And while Gaimai was giving birth to him and was under anesthesia, she had a dream that she was being given the gift of a male child. Gaimai would read the family well-known stories of the saints and avatars of old. She harped on the theme that Baba was the same ancient one or avatar. When Meherwan met Baba, he thought, here is Lord Krishna. Baba would ask Meherwan, who am I? Meherwan would say, Krishna ji. They purchased their home, Mary Lodge, in Nagpur in the early 1920s and developed the house and grounds into a palatial estate. They lived there until 1938. So Meherwan would have been about 8 years old at the time. His first childhood memory of Meher Baba is when Baba came to give darshan there in 1937. When Meherwan first met Meher Baba, he prepared a small garland for him. But being very shy, he didn't know how to place the garland on his neck. Baba noticed and bent down. One day, Meherwan had the urge to possess one little strand of Baba's hair. He got a pair of scissors, sneaked behind the couch where Baba was sitting, and quietly snipped off one little piece of hair. And Baba let him do it. And as time wore by, his shyness wore off. Meherwan remembers when all the items in Mary Lodge in 1938 were being sold off because the family was going to be living with Baba. His cousin Dadi Carawala lived with them. His family was too poor to raise him the way Gaimai could. So essentially, he and Dadi were like real true brothers. Dadi and Meherwan would raise prices on the items. Eruch would wonder how the prices had changed. August 1st, 1938, they all joined Baba at Meherabad. He and Dadi lived with the men. They rested on the floor with their belongings nearby. It was the first time he was out without his mother, Gaimai, but Baba filled the gap. He became close with Gustaji. Gustaji taught Meherwan to read his signs, and they had enjoyable conversations together, often when they were in a car ride. Shortly afterwards, Meherwan joined the Blue Bus tours. At times, he was the only child. Meherwan said he wouldn't trade his childhood for a quote unquote normal childhood. Occasionally, Dottie or another child would join the tour, but Meherwan was there from beginning to end. From age 7 to 11, he would attend the local schools, and there was a time during the Blue Bus tours that he stayed at Akbar Press. He wasn't happy there. He missed Baba and his family. So Baba sent Pendu's father, Masaji, to pick up Meherwan and bring him along with 40 pieces of luggage to Madla. Because of the many pieces of luggage by British rule, the luggage had to be in a baggage car. And Pendu told Masaji to look after the luggage at every stop. And this is a delightful story where Meherwan is the 41st piece of luggage. At a wayside station called Chalisgaon, the name means 40 villages, Masaji didn't know the train was scheduled for only a brief halt. The train started going and Masaji was desperate, but couldn't get back to Meherwan. When the train halted at the next stop, a couple of railway police came racing along the platform, looking in each window. They asked the child, "Where is your guardian?" They had Meherwan get off the train and on the platform with all 40 pieces of luggage. Meherwan sat on top of the luggage. They told him not to move, and the next train would bring his guardian. The railway people had solved their problem by sending a telegram to the next station and telling them to remove the bundles and Meherwan from the train. Masaji was panicked. He wouldn't know how to tell Meher Baba he had lost Meherwan and the 40 pieces of luggage. The next train that he could get on was a local train, and it took him a long time to reach the destination. Masaji sent a telegram to Baba. Baba broke the news to Papa Jessawala, and all Baba said was, "Here's your son." They were afraid of him, Papa Jessawala, did not share the whole story. On the Blue Bus tours, this was the first time a male child was inducted into the women's ashram. Meherwan was actually allowed to see Mera. He couldn't touch her, but he could see her at a distance. He was very friendly with Mani, who was young, and they played games together. Of Kitty, Meherwan said she was a beautiful soul. Meherwan was enrolled in school in Bangalore. Early morning was exercise time. His instructor, Margaret Krask. Baba wanted to toughen up Meherwan. Elizabeth would drive Meherwan and Sarwar, who was Baidul's daughter and Franey Foreman's mother, to school and back in Bangalore each day. One day, Mani asked him to be in a play. This was in Bangalore. Meherwan was frightened and shy. He was to bring tea in cups before Mani, who was a princely ruler. Instead, he brought the tea and cups to Baba and the women. The cups fell over, they spilled, and Baba had a hearty laugh. When it was his birthday, Baba asked Gaimai what would Meherwan like to eat. She said he liked rice dal and spinach. Baba asked Mani to ask Meherwan again, what did he really want to have for his birthday meal? Meherwan said rice dal and spinach. So that's what they all ate for his birthday feast. In the 1940s, they went back to Bangalore for school for Meherwan. Baba sent Eruch, Gaimai, Meherwan, and his sisters to live in a rented bungalow. Eruch would help Meherwan in his studies. Baba would have him enter a higher standard when he started a new school, so he would come up to that level, and Eruch would tutor him. Meherwan was part of a group Margaret was teaching self-defense to. Baba asked Meherwan to show what they had learned. Meherwan retreated under the furniture, and Baba was pleased. He learned exercises in Dehradun from Dr. Neelu, and In Dehradun, Meherwan had the duty of accompanying Baba from the women's side of the ashram to the men's side, which were about a mile apart. He would try to keep up with Baba. He was 11 at the time. Meherwan would walk Baba from the women's side to the men's side, inevitably disturbing his breakfast. When he would return, his tea would be cold and flies would be all over his food, but that walk was far more important. In 1943, Papa spoke to Baba and wanted a more settled life for his family. And Shireen Mai, Baba's mother, was very fond of Gai Mai and wanted her near. So Baba told the Jessawala family to go to Pune and stay there for 15 to 20 days at the most. He said, then I'll call you back, but you must be there for some days. Meher Baba's brother Baram located Bindra House. A new tenant almost signed the lease, but Baram offered a higher rent and the landlord gave it to them. There were no furnishings. They didn't unpack because they thought that Baba would call them soon. 1945, a year later, Papa went to Baba and asked, what should we do? And Baba said, you can unpack now. 1943 to 1990, they lived at Bindra House. 20 days became 47 years. Baba would visit them frequently after mosque tours. He and the Mandali would rest there and get cleaned up to return to Meherabad or Meherazad. August 1944, Chanji died. Masaji died. Meherwan was at the memorial service Baba had for his close ones at Meherabad. 2 big pits were dug by the railroad tracks. Chanji's bedding roll and other personal belongings were placed in one. Masaji's body placed in the other. The names of those close to Baba were recited. After each name, Baba placed a rose petal in the pit. Baba said in the future, which has happened, a memorial tower was to be constructed at that site, commemorating those who loved and served him or who were in some way connected to him in this Advent. August 24th, 1948, Baba performed the housewarming ceremony for Meherazad. He had directed his arti, Bujave Nar, and the Gujarati arti to be sung, same one. Eruch's family was there. Meherwan writes in his book, because we weren't in the habit of singing it, it all went haywire, and we missed and switched words and dropped lines and sang off key. Baba stopped them and dictated the lines to them. Meherwan was 16 and had been in 5 different schools. For college, he attended Wadia College in Pune. Baba was coming to visit, but there was a musical concert and Meherwan wanted to attend, and he missed seeing Baba. Papa and Manu attended the New Life meeting. After Baba came to Bindra House, he told Meherwan to look after the family during the New Life. At that point, Meherwan was 19 and going to college. Baba said, look, I am taking Eruch with me to look after me. Your duty will be to look after the family. Papa and Meherwan were to look after the family. Khorshid, Eruch's wife, was also living at Bindra House. Mama, Manu, Valu, Sultun, Dowla, Gai Mai, Papa, and Meherwan all lived together there. One day during the New Life, and they were not to look at Baba, Meherwan stopped outside Shivaji Market in Pune and saw a few of Baba's companions 100 yards away, and he even saw Baba. He was shocked, turned around, and fled from the scene. And there were 2 other incidents when he saw Baba as well, but being so trained in obedience to Baba, each time he turned his back. In August of 1950, Baba sent a message to find a bungalow in Pune. They were all so excited. With all the activity, Meherwan did not pass his exams and had to retake them on October 16th, 1950. So he couldn't attend the one day Baba stepped out of the new life. Then later, Baba asked for another place in Pune. At that time, Meherwan saw a palace-like building. He climbed over the fence. It was Guru Prasad. The man in charge was angry. Said he would have Meherwan arrested for climbing over the fence, and they left. Meanwhile, Gadikar was looking for one also. They sent a telegram to the Rani asking for permission to stay at Guru Prasad. The Rani gave her permission. That marked the first time Baba would stay at Guru Prasad. The man in charge, who had told Meherwan he would have him arrested for jumping over the fence, was quiet when he saw Meherwan return with Gadikar. Meherwan had a difficult time, as I mentioned, studying for all his exams because of all the work that he was doing. And for one exam, he had to know all 92 chemical elements and their properties by heart. Fortunately, he had learned uranium, which was on the test, and he passed. While going for the exams, Naja would gather all the people in Bindra House before Baba's picture to pray that Baba would pass, that Meherwan would pass. Meherwan went to Baba after he graduated and asked what should he do. Baba said, get a job and be able to help the family. His degrees were in chemistry and physics. His first job was low paying, a clerk in an insurance company. He began in May of 1952. While he was there, someone brought the Times of India into the office, which carried an account of Baba's 1952 accident. Up until that time, they had not heard anything about it. September 1954, Meherwan was at the Darshan program in Wadia Park, Ahmednagar. He said he felt like he was being caught in a stampede of love. After the darshan, the 3 incredible weeks began. Whenever Baba passed through Pune in the mid-50s, he stopped at Bindra House. In 1956, was a reorganization of the various states of India. Because of the riots and disturbances, insurance companies made a great deal of money, but the demand was so great that Meherwan worked late into the night and at times would pass out. So at that time, Baba had him come for a month's rest at Meherwan, and that would continue monthly as time went by for Meherwan. In 1956, the accident occurred in Satara. Meherji and Meherwan arranged for an ambulance and they went to the hospital. They found a bungalow in Pune for Baba to recover, Silver Oaks. In 1957, they arranged for Baba to stay at Guru Prasad to recuperate, thanks to the kindness of the Rani. Rana was staying at Bindra House. Papa and Rana both were ill. Meherwan called for the doctor. So the thread that runs through all this is that Meherwan was involved in each and everything that occurred, pretty much since he met Baba at age 7 and 8. Baba told Meherwan to go to bed at 10 p.m. that night. 5 minutes to 10, Papa shouted, Meherwan, come quick. But Baba had given him this order, so he laid his head on the pillow to obey Baba's order. So he did that. He stayed in the bed, but then rushed to Papa, who had a massive pulmonary embolism. When he returned, Papa was breathing his last. Meherwan made all the funeral arrangements. Baba and Eruch attended. There was an Irishman named Kirkpatrick who lived very frugally next to Guru Prasad. Baba had Meherwan see to his meager needs till the end. Kirkpatrick was very much-like. In 1962, the Maharani had major electrical and other renovations done to Guru Prasad, and so Baba chose to have the East-West gathering at that time. Meherwan was involved from the beginning and end, from setup to takedown. His job was to assist Meherji with hotel and other accommodations and prep work, and he also was in charge of the telephones, which kept him very, very busy. This is a humorous story. Before January 13th, 1963, he left for his 1-month stay at Meherwan. But about that time, the office workers in the insurance company unionized. And because of his seniority, they made Meherwan the union leader. And he had to play his part. He shouted in Marathi, "Down with the management, exploiters." Baba was tickled. He had Meherwan shout them for him. Baba's seclusion continued at Guru Prasad, but Meherwan was able to go whenever he was free. When Meherwan was to leave in 1968, after his 1-month stay, Baba gave him a very tight and long hug. It was the last hug he received from Baba. In 1968, Meherwan, Meherji, and others were not to come to Guru Prasad during Baba's stay. At one point, Meherwan was told in 1969 they were considering bringing Baba to Guru Prasad and he should make preparations, but then that was changed. Meherji was to bring Dr. Grant on January 30th from Pune. Baba asked him to bring Meherwan. Meherwan declined, thinking he would be a burden to Baba. When they arrived, the first thing Baba asked Meherji was, "Did you bring Meherwan?" His sign for Meherwan was little brother. Meherwan regretted that decision to this day. He wrote, "I never knew what was to follow." On January 31st, 1969, Meherji's daughter called with the news Baba had dropped his body. Meherwan's job was to tell everyone in Pune. His boss told him to go right away, have no concern about anything there. And all at Bindra House left very rapidly. Padre gave Meherji and Meherwan mattresses to sleep on in Mandali Hall. And they decided the Great Darshan would still be on. Baba Eruch asked Meherwan to get Guru Prasad ready. At that time, Meherji wanted Meherwan to leave the insurance company and become his partner, which he did. So for the next 18 years, he was part of the White Cloud paper company that he and Meherji kept. In 1990, their 20-day stay at Bindra House came to an end, and he and Manu moved to Meherwan. So the one thing that I remember and many remember was that the most important thing Meherwan said was to take Baba's name at all times, wherever you are, cooking, reading, writing, whatever you're doing, take Baba's name. And he said that especially at the end of his life. What Mera Arjani said about him was, in years to come, people will read this book and wonder, did people like this really exist? To you all I say, yes, they did, without any ostentation whatsoever. They lived for and served the Lord. Meherwan had large ears. Baba said, you have large ears, make good use of them. When you hear something from one ear, let it go out the other. Don't store it in. At the 1958 Sahavas, when he came before Baba for darshan, Baba, pointing to Meherwan, said, he is mine from head to foot. Meherwan felt quite dazed and stunned for some time. Once Baba asked Nadja to read a letter she had written. She addressed the letter, "Dear Saint Meherwan." Baba said, "He is a saint." At Guru Prasad, someone asked, "What does a saint look like?" Baba pointed to Meherwan. Jai Baba.
Jay Baba. So beautiful always, Karen. Thank you so much. I
My
love that.
pleasure.
I love the line about the stampede of love.
But there really was a stampede, and he almost lost a shoe.
What? Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. You just filled in the flesh for us. That was just beautiful. Jay Baba.
Jai Baba, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm going to show a little video that just shares some photos and a little bit of, just a little bit of Baba's love. Here we go.
Lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside.
Lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside.
Through the play of the separation and the world's adieu, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
Through the play of the separation and the world's adieu, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
Though the pain of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me.
Though the pain of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me. The love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me.
The fluting of your love song comes as a madness of the mind, where tangles of ambition in drunkenness unwind.
The fluting of your love song comes as a madness of the mind, where tangles of ambition in drunkenness unwind. Now my only hope is to earn the scope where the flame of love can flare, to implore you and adore you till you alone are there. Darling, for lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside. Lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside.
Through the play of the separation and the world's adieu, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
Through the play of the separation and the world's adieu, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
Though the pain of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me.
Though the pain of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me. The love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me.
and sacrifice is real freedom, and ruination is real joy. For when you are exalted, the vessel you destroy.
And sacrifice is real freedom, and ruination is real joy. For when you are exalted, the vessel you destroy.
Yet I beg the grace
still to hold a place where your lover I remain, and as thine sup from the wine cup of the sweetness and the pain.
darling, for lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside.
Lovely is the gift you can find, the kiss of remembrance torments inside.
Through the play of the separation and the world's ado, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
Through the play of the separation and the world's ado, the love of my heart is for no one but you.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
To you is my destiny tied, I know you will find me wherever I hide.
Though the play of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me.
Though the pain of the separation spins dreamscapes I see, the love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me. The love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me. The love of my heart is awakening me, awakening me, awakening me.
Mihal? Jai Baba.
Well, I don't have a lot to share either, but I don't think anyone has a lot to share because he was so humble and he was, we call that hiding behind the dishes. That's what we call it in Israel. He was so humble and he was a saint and so gentle. He was so gentle. So he never pushed forward, and he always let everyone else have the stage. And even there's a beautiful video of his where one of the very good singers of Pune, a lady, I don't remember her name now, she's a beautiful singer, and she's singing to him, and he is looking so shy. He's looking so like, who, to me? To me, you're singing, no, to Baba. So he was a darling. And that's all that can be said about him. And Karen, your beautiful bio and joyful one. And Lucy, your videos, they give so much joy. And, I always say that every mandali, everyone has their own essence that comes in the Zoom, and his was a lot of sweetness. There was a lot of sweetness. So I do have some very special memories with him. One of them was once I went to visit in their house. I think he encouraged me to come. And so I came to their house, and Gaimai was there. And we were sitting at the table in the kitchen. It's not a kitchen, I think it's a dining hall. And Meherwan says, you have a camera? Take a picture. Gaimai says, no. And he says, no, take. So I took the picture, and happened what happened with Baba when he didn't want the picture to be, then the picture didn't come out, it was blank. So that was one remembrance. And another one was very, very special. That was the last summer tiki that I was there. And I usually find the place next to the samadhi or in the cabin or something. But that time, it wasn't what Baba wanted. So I looked for a place to be, and it was the last moment, just before the silence of Amartiti. And I went on the stage. There's the stage next to the samadhi. I forget what it's called. Panda? No, it's not called Panda. Mandap. It's called a mandap. So I went from the most. So this is south. This is east. So I went from the east side, and it was full of people, full of people. And I wanted to sit by Baba's Gadi. And Baba's Gadi was on the west side of this mandap. So I don't know how it happened. It was just magical because there were so many people, and it was just one few minutes before the silence. And I started walking among all these people, and somehow it was very easy to walk through this very condensed people sitting on the mandap on the floor. And I reached the Gadi just in time, and I looked around, and there was Meherwan sitting right next to the mandap with some of the Narazad residents, Shelley and Casey and some others. And so because I was sitting at the Gadi, and I was holding to the Gadi's daman. and suddenly I felt that Meherwan was saying, hold with both hands, hold with both hands. So I held with both hands. Well, he didn't say anything. It was something from heart to heart. I held with both hands. And that was the last time that I saw Meherwan. And yes, he kept saying at the end of his life, how important it is to repeat Baba's name. Repeat Baba's name, repeat Baba's name, wherever you are, repeat Baba's name. So we have had such an honor by Baba, such a gift by Baba to be next to his beautiful chosen host of Mandali. So amazing people. And soon we won't be here. And there won't be anyone who will say, oh, we remember them. So it'll be only in the books. So thank you very much.
Jai Baba, thank you very much.
Karen wants to say something.
I see that, honey. Thank you. Okay. I think Prakash had his hand up first, though. Okay. Go ahead, Prakash.
Well, not much to say, but to thank you, Karen, for a beautiful account of Meherwan. And like she does all the time, all these beautiful meetings. And Ruth for that beautiful video. One of the things I just vaguely recall is when we went along with our family, we were always like a big number of people going there. And we happened to be there, and then Meherwan was, it was empty in Meherwan at the time for some reason. And we were around Meherwan at the time, and he was so, the way he used to take care of everything there. He told us, first go and say Jai Baba to Bhauji and then come here. And we were so touched. He didn't want to attract any attention, like Mikhail said. That's how saintly he was. And here is a story which obviously some of you may have read, but I thought it was funny and nice to share here. Let me read that for you. This is from the manalihall.org. So a short story. On another occasion, Baba noticed a magician strolling by their house and just for the fun called him inside. He demonstrated his magic. The magician said he wanted a boy, and Meherwan stepped forward. The magician softly whispered in his ears, "Now, when I clap, stop speaking, and when I clap again, talk." He then announced to all, I will now use my magic on this child, whereby his tongue will be rendered useless." Mumbling some incantation, the magician waved his wand over Meherwan, clapped, and said to the audience, "Now, if you wish to ask him, him anything, ask, but he won't be able to answer." Everyone questioned Meherwan, but he kept quiet. Baba too asked him something. Still, he did not reply. The magician clapped, and Meherwan began speaking. When the show was over and the man had left, Baba asked Meherwan, "Why couldn't you speak?" Meherwan said, "The magician told me not to speak." All had a good laugh at this disclosure, but Baba insisted, No. He hypnotized you and prevented you from talking." Meherwan persisted, "No, Baba. Really, he told me not to speak." So that's one of those funny things I just happened to come across. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba Prakash, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing just from the bio how intricately woven Meherwan's time was in all the arrangements for Baba. You just hear about all these different times and places, and Meherwan was there making arrangements and as a man behind the scenes, as everyone's saying. Karen, good morning. Jai Baba.
Well, I have a few more things to add. I was fortunate. I was able to spend time with Meherwan when he was living at Meherazad. And on occasion, Sally Pearson and I would go out early in the morning to Meherazad and go for walks with Meherwan, because every morning he took a walk. And there were times that we would walk up to Seclusion Hill with him. There were times that we walked to where the staff quarters were, and there were times that we would go to a forested area. I don't remember any other walks, but and there may have been, but I remember those areas distinctly. And he always let whoever would come in the morning to join him on his walks. It wasn't by invitation, you just came. And that was Meherwan. And he would talk and tell wonderful, wonderful stories. Early on, I remember Sally Pearson would bring a tape recorder, little one, and record all of the stories. And then we'd also be there for tea time at Meherazad. And he also would continue, Sally, would continue to tape record. And she always had wonderful questions to ask. So she got some really great stories, and I know she has them still. He, aside from the biography, he was involved working with Ward Parks on infinite intelligence. It was found in a go down, and I think that Eruch, I may be all wrong, but I believe Eruch told him to get it back up and share it with Ward, and they did work on it. And I'm not sure about Tiffin lectures, but he was definitely involved in infinite intelligence. Tea times were wonderful when I was there, the times that I was there. He had a tin, and inside the tin were cookies or little cakes or some kind of a treat. And then when everybody would get their tea, be served their cups of tea, he would open the tin and pass out the little treats at tea time. So that was very sweet. The last time that the last time that I was at Meherwan and said goodbye, and it was the last time that year that I saw Meherwan, his last words to me, if I remember correctly, are basically the last words that he pretty much said to everyone that remembers that, was to take Baba's name at all times. And in the back of the book, I'll just read a little bit on taking Baba's name. Meherwan often reminded those who came to hear stories about his life with Baba to repeat Baba's name. Especially at the end of his life, he emphasized over and over that the most important thing for a Baba lover is to repeat his name. The following comments, and I'll read just some of them, have been excerpted from a talk that Meherwan gave in Mandali Hall at Meherzad, as well as from parting advice he gave to more than one pilgrim in variations on this theme. In the last, and so I'll start with a few. In the last months of his ministry especially, Baba would constantly be telling all of us to practice taking his name as continuously as possible. He once had said, "There is power in my name. There is more power in my name than even myself. And even I repeat my name." So that's how much importance Baba gave to the repetition of his name. While cooking, you can repeat his name. While listening to us, you can repeat his name. While you are asking me a question, I was repeating his name. That's how you should repeat his name in your daily life. Don't set aside for that. It's not a ritual. It's a way of life that happens, and then it will become a sort of support for you. In all religions in the world, the Lord's name is given prime importance. All the saints and sages and perfect masters, they stress the same thing. Repeat the Lord's name. In your mouth, let there be the Lord's name, and in your eyes, let there be the sight of the Lord. Try to make him the being of your being. That was by Tukaram. Constantly, he was repeating his name. Another thing is it also cleans up all the muck that is within all of us, all the lust, greed, anger, passion that we are all filled with. There's a huge mountain of all this within us that has to be cleaned up. This name starts to clean that up. It hollows you out. That's the way to purify your heart. It will make you nice and clean and clear. And when the time is right, you just become one with the name. Take Baba with you when you leave this place. But how will you take him with you? By remembering him. But then how will you remember him? By taking his name constantly. And she writes, as I was about to leave him, he firmly squeezed my hand and said, take Baba back with you and repeat his name. There is nothing else to do. And the last paragraph. Meherwan was in a lovely and playful mood, acting like I would imagine he would have in his teens. We hadn't seen him like this before. Then in a very serious tone, he said, you must repeat his name. I replied, and I believe that's Mara Arjani. I'm repeating, and I think that's who it was. I'm repeating his name at night, but I find it hard during the day. Meherwan replied, you must repeat his name. Let it flow through you. Baba told us he had repeated his own name to give the repetition of his name great power. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Karen, thank you. Such a wonderful reminder. What a difference it makes. Well, I have a little video I could share
Please.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do then. All right. So here's a video of Meherwan. I just pulled something up at random that wasn't very long, but I thought we'd just have a chance to listen to him. Here we go.
Just then Elizabeth sent two big limousines, like what the president uses, those big 9-seater ones, long ones. So they prepared this place to house those cars. It was just a shed. So these cars were brought. Now where to house them? Two big DeSoto cars, a special green color, the only ones in the whole country at the time. So Baba tells Eruch, let's go for a long ride to break in one of the cars. And why two cars? Because Elizabeth thought that Baba is all the while traveling all over India in the worst of situations, and in traveling in crowded trains and getting jostled here and there, no room to get in. So Baba could travel in comfort, and the big cars with carriers, so that Baba could have all the luggage, the mound of luggage that he would ask the Mandali to carry, and they could all be nicely accommodated. And another car in case the first car broke down. So a backup. And then a big, huge refrigerator was shipped by her. There was no electricity here. This came much later. So she sent one which worked on kerosene. So you had to light a small kerosene lamp at the bottom, and that heated some gas inside, and the whole machine would work silently, no noise. It was some Electrolux company, which they were doing right till quite recently. Yeah. So that was sent, and Raja was extremely happy because to store things here there was nothing, so this gave a very good cooling and ice formation and everything. So they thought now they would be really comfortable and live in style and be well provided. The cars were there to fetch anything. And so everything was nice. And Baba says, let's go for a long ride. This is now 1949. Before that, first Baba said, I have to I have to do some important work, and I want to enter into deep seclusion. So Baba entered that bus. He got this bus there installed, and the bus was cordoned off, and Baba sat in seclusion there for 40 days. In the middle of the seclusion, he wanted a change of scene, and he sent Eruch over to Pune, and Eruch and I tried to find a good bungalow for him for some days stay, and he wanted to continue seclusion there. So with great difficulty, Eruch found one nice bungalow up on a hill known as Thube's bungalow. It's on the road to Satara, I think, in Pune. So quite far off from the city at that time, isolated. So Baba did that very strict seclusion, and then after he came out of the seclusion, he gave out to a few close ones that he intended to embark upon a new type of life, but it was kept well under wraps. And in the meantime, these cars arrived, So Baba says, now let's go for a long trip. And Baba and the women with Eruch driving, they came to Pune and then proceeded on to Belgaum, which was quite a few hundred miles down south. And in a couple of days, they returned. In Pune, Baba tells the women, now you do all your shopping and we will and get Meherazad going. So the women didn't even know what to shop. So Baba says, buy something. He was encouraging them to buy. And Manu was accompanying the women also. Then Baba says, now let's return. And somehow they stacked quite a few things in there. The car was all nicely loaded. And then Baba said, let's go back, and tells my sister Manu, you accompany us today. And Baba had in the meantime announced that on his return he was going to hold a very important meeting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And very few selected people were invited. And in that, my dad's name was there and Manu's name was there. So they both were to go the next day. So Baba says, I'll take Manu along with me now. So Papa says, but Baba, my dad was Papa, Baba used to call him. So Papa said, Baba, but Manu and I are coming tomorrow. Why crowd this car? No, she must come with me. So Baba insisted to take her along and kept her at Meherazad for the night. And the next day Baba went to Meherabad, and there he announced for the first time to the people who had assembled there his plans for entering the new life.
Jai Baba.
Wow, how significant. Wow. Thank you, Rosie. That was a great little clip. It's nice to hear him. Looks so such sweetness in that voice.
And those big ears.
Like his brother.
In one side out the other. Well, anyone have anything they'd like to bring forth? If not, we'll take a moment of silence together. And thank
Just also his great family feeling, you know, his great love for Eruch, very, very great love for Eruch, and Eruch's love for him. And the family unit so close and so loving and so caring for each other. And so that is also very beautiful. And the way that Meherwan Jani was so attached and connected to him, because actually when she was a baby, she was in the family there. She grew up in Winter House, so with her mother, because her father was on ships and going back and forth. So she was so devoted to him, so attached to him, and it was so beautiful to see. So that too.
how fortunate we are that we get time and remembrance of these amazing souls. Karen, go ahead, sweet.
I just wanted to thank Mikal for pointing out Mera Arjani, who really considered Meherwan her uncle, and in many ways her father, because Sam was out at sea for such long periods of time, and they lived at Bindra House. So Meherwan had an amazing, he really was so, like you said, was so important to so many people and to Baba. And I think that's the essence of who Meherwan was. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. All right, let's have a moment of silence. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. If you'd like to unmute. Avatar,
Lord.
Meher Baba.
Meher Baba
Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Avatar.
Avatar.
Avatar
Meher
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 Baba.
Baba
Ki
Jai.
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Avatar.
Avatar
Avatar.
Meher
Meher
Baba.
Baba
Ki
Ki
Jai.
Ki
Jai.
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 Thank you, Ruthie. Thank you, Karen. Lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thank
to
you.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.